All right, team, we're coming up on a few minutes in, so we can make a start. Merrick, did you want to share and lead, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to handle the meeting and can just bring my topics.
Okay, I will share a screen with the community meeting doc. Just a quick note, everyone that has subscribed to the etcd mailing list will be able to update that document. And let me share that now. Okay, hopefully that is coming through. Welcome everyone. For me, it is Friday, November 3, and I'm about to head on a plane to KubeCon next week, which is very exciting for everyone on the call. I'm guessing it's probably more like Thursday. Hopefully I'll see some of your faces at KubeCon next week. If we jump into our topics, what have we got? So first up, Han and Joe talking about Augur.
Yeah, so I don't know if Joe is here. Is Joe here? He said he was going to try to join, but if he's not here, then I can go ahead. Okay, Joe's not here.
Yeah.
So Augur is an incredibly invaluable tool for debugging etcd clusters that are connected to Kubernetes. And the reason for that is because Augur knows how to decode the values of keys in etcd, because Kubernetes serializes data before persisting them to etcd, which means if you try to read the key using etcd-ctl, you just get a bunch of gibberish, right? So not only does this tool allow you to directly interact with etcd and to read Kubernetes objects, but it has analysis tooling. So it can give you, for instance, like which objects are occupying the most amount of space in etcd, and it can do this by Kubernetes resource types. And internally at Google anyway, we have used this tool to much success. And it is an incredibly valuable debugging tool. I think the community would gain a lot from it. And it is in a repo that Joe owns. And it has been there for years, but I think it would make sense to subsume under SIG etcd as a subproject, considering the closer connection and ties to the Kubernetes community.
Thanks for the intro, Han. There's actually a question that's been on my mind for this on if it would make sense to, over time, potentially bring some of this functionality into etcd-ctl. But that's a question for further down the track and not for today, just an idea. It actually came up recently in Slack. There's a bit of a gist you can use in conjunction with Augur in relation to encryption as well. So potentially a future contribution we can make directly to Augur. Curious on community's thoughts on bringing it under the umbrella.
So it only works with etcd?
It works with etcds, but specifically with etcd clusters that are connected to Kubernetes clusters.
Okay.
Because Kubernetes has a very specific serialization format for the values of keys in etcd. So you can't actually use etcd-ctl to read Kubernetes data in an etcd. Yeah, and that's what this tool solves.
Yeah, I mean, just for me personally, it gets a +1 because it's come up and solved issues for the community in Slack relatively recently. But it's super valuable in my mind. The question becomes, do we have someone that's dedicated to maintain and look after it, or are we just absorbing it with existing maintainers? Is Joe interested in contributing moving forward, or?
Joe is probably not. In fact, at one point, we were going to inherit this project into SIG instrumentation. And the reason for that was there was no SIG etcd. And this is a debugging tool and therefore could fall under the domain of, like, we just wanted to give it a proper home and, you know, have it have the community support rather than living in some random repo. And Joe is okay with this. He's always wanted to find a proper home for this.
Yeah. So from my 2 cents, I haven't used Augur extensively. I mean, depending on what you're debugging, Bbolt tooling is pretty useful, but definitely if you like the question answers that Han mentioned that finding or analyzing Kubernetes objects, finding which resource is the main contributing one is, I haven't used that, but I think this is the only, Augur is the only tool to do that. I don't know, like I'm currently or I've been working on making Bbolt even included in etcd-ctl. So what James mentioned about integrating the tooling more in Augur, I'm super supportive of that to bringing it closer. The problem with Augur only is that I think it would create a cyclical dependency because like you need Augur to both. You cannot include Augur into etcd-ctl because it's aware of Kubernetes and Kubernetes uses etcd, so it would make it a little bit complicated. Maybe we could look into that, but overall, I think there is nothing like tool is well known, used. I think it's mostly about finding people that would want to support it because I mean, we are already our communities in the state that we are already deprecating or cutting scope and deprecating or archiving projects. It's question what support the project or project will Augur will definitely benefit, but what support from community we should bring it to make it more useful.
How about we create an issue in etcd, like an issue or discussion, and see if there are people interested in help with the support. I know we use a lot in Google, so probably a lot of people are using it. So I think it's highly possible there are people who are interested in continue supporting it. I worked on Google Augur before, and I did some integrate work before. It's not that much. Yeah, let's open a issue or discussion and then go from there.
I posted something.
Oops. I'm going to leave.
Okay, I posted something in the chat. It gives you a sample of the kind of analysis that you would get with Augur that you're not going to get with etcd-ctl, and you can see why it would be helpful for debugging an etcd cluster, right? Like this is a part of the analysis. There's other stuff, but they had PII in it, so I didn't want to include that here. But as you can see, it would be super helpful for debugging an etcd cluster.
Yeah, it's certainly been helpful for the community. Let us raise an issue in etcd etcd and take that forward. Han, can I ask, would you or Joe be able to open the issue just to kick the process off and we can go from there?
I think we've already opened an issue at some point. We need to get, like, the thing that was blocking us was getting CLA sign off from contributors to Augur who had not signed CLAs or something. And that was the one thing that was blocking us from integrating into a Kubernetes SIG repo.
Okay. Well, we can revisit that. Just let's surface that issue if we've already got one. All good. Okay. Sorry, Mark.
No, I just thought. Do you think it should be included into etcd organization or SIG or Kubernetes 6 organization.
My opinion is Kubernetes SIG because this is literally a Kubernetes SIG / etcd tool, as opposed to like a native etcd tool.
Yeah, that I think
That
would make
that makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, team. Moving on to our next topic, over to Merrick to discuss the downgrade Kubernetes enhancement proposal.
Yeah, so on the last triage, or first and the last triage meetings, we discussed, or me and Mwenja brought a topic of bringing in old Etsy designs into KEP format as a way for community to better to better share and share knowledge and improve on our feature development process. So I think it would be really, or I wanted to start it by sending my or old design as it is into the KEP and proposing that to revive. I mean, we have this, our downgrade design has been a milestone for 3.6 for some time. I wanted to bring it more into the, or I would want to revise the design and ensure there is progress on it. And I think the first step would be moving to KEP to it in the KEP format. So I'm planning to split or iterate on it, maybe split it into multiple designs because the original design was over a little bit dense and over the scope was pretty big. But yeah, this is like the call to both review, read it. Maybe we can start discussing it, and I think to take it as an example for bringing other designs and moving into more KEP process. The main benefits I think we expect is more formalized design process should help. Like having a shared template should help everyone to improve on their design, and shared process should help us better to track, which was historically a pretty big problem with effort being dropped. So and a lot of features staying in experimental. So I think if we slowly migrate it into process, or like after a couple of KEPs, all designs moving into KEPs, if we could move and start moving into it as an official process for for etcd.
I think it's an excellent candidate for the first item to go through the process. Sorry, Han.
No, I was going to say the exact same thing. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. And I see there's a note been added underneath around LiveZ and ReadyZ design to kind of also go through that process. And again, wholeheartedly agree. I think it's an excellent way to get more eyeballs on the design, get more input into it, get more review, and ultimately come out with a better outcome.
One thing that we should consider is, should we adhere to Kubernetes release deadlines? Because it could be a forcing function for people to review KEPs and get PRR reviews. Like, we don't necessarily have to release the stuff, but like adhering to those deadlines will get like people to review the KEPs from the community, and also will get us into the PRR pipeline, right? Like, so like,
I think we should ask the PRR about that, whether, since we have the option to schedule it, whether they would rather have it be part of the general next Kubernetes release pipeline, or whether they'd rather have it at another time when they're less busy.
I can see it both ways because PRR meetings are often canceled. I'm a shadow right now, So they cancel a lot of meetings when PRR is not going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
well, then you can ask that.
Yeah, I'll ask that, but you can put an action item on me, I'll
Yeah.
ask. If they don't cancel the next meeting, because there's no impending PR reviews coming up.
PRR is a little bit tricky because it requires filling a form that has really built-in Kubernetes assumptions. So definitely there will be some integration work or like compatibility work.
Sure.
For now, from what I've seen, the JSON schema verification on KEP doesn't require us to specify a lot. So we are not required to provide any milestones or stages or anything. I think the only what we need to provide is, for example, approvers, to have at least one approver. But yeah, I think we can look into iterating and seeing what subset of things we want to require from our KEPs.
Perhaps just as a little bit of a crawl, walk, run sort of thing, we can start with downgrade and LiveZ, ReadyZ as just kind of getting familiar with the process, and not necessarily trying to adhere to the strict milestones for 1.29 or 130, probably 130. But in future, potentially, I'm a little bit apprehensive around additional kind of effort to make that happen, because I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to kind of prompt things along through those. But let's cross that bridge a little bit down the track, perhaps. Okay. Thanks, team. So we've got an action point there just around engaging with PRR as well, but that is cool. So once more for Marek, robustness test failure rotation, issues with ARM64. What have we got?
Yeah, so I want to bring topic. It's sometimes hard for me to go back to robustness test and like revisit them. I've been looking into making it, the signal easier to read. I don't think GitHub has a way to convey a periodic failure signal, or I haven't found one. I haven't found one. So yeah, I from time to time review or revisit the list of tests and find some issues. And one recent outside of one new issue that I haven't yet investigated much was with ARM, and was looking if someone would be interested into looking into that. What I've seen, we've been, even before we migrated, for context, even before we migrated to the new on-demand ARM machines that may possibly have lower performance from what I've seen. Even the old machines, the one new scenario that was added, a couple of weeks ago with member replacement, so replacing a member etcd, was already failing on ARM64, and the reason was sending snapshot was failing at some unknown cause. So I haven't looked into that. So there was a direct new type of error of etcd cannot send snapshot of size, or size 0, a snapshot of size 0 bytes could not be sent, or something like that. So that was totally, for me, unexpected, and I haven't figured out why it's only faced on ARM64. There was some fixes on bbolt layer from Benjamin, but I don't have full context on them, and I think it would be good to have someone, at least if we are selling ARM64 as official supported architecture, we should have, would be good to have multiple people aware and looking into this.
Just on the first point around signal, one of the things I think will help is trying to get a subset of, or a light run of robustness perhaps running per PR, which is kind of more possible now that we've got the actuator.dev, like the on-demand ARM64 runners. So I'm intending to work on that. And kind of like we have a light robustness that runs for every PR for AMD 64. That should help. But yeah, if we've got something that we can recreate that is ARM64 specific, I can have a quick look, but I'll certainly probably need some help trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, sounds good. Happy to maybe jump on it and debug together.
Cool. So we'll keep an eye out for any future flakes we see there. And ideally, if we can get the runs happening more frequently as well, like per PR for a lightweight set, let's try and gain some more confidence as we go. Okay. Very quickly, any other thoughts on that team? All good? Okay. So very quickly, the next one is just a quick announcement from me on a new blog post. So if you go to etcd.io/blog, we've got a summary article there just for SIG etcd. So just trying to answer any basic questions anyone has. If you need to give anyone just a quick 101 on what the SIG etcd is about, what the motivations were, you can use that blog post as a way of just kind of communicating some of the basics for SIG etcd. And I'm not sure who's leading the next one. Did someone want to talk about KubeCon next week?
Yeah, just for anybody on the call who's going to be at KubeCon, we have a kiosk staffing grid up. If you could take on a shift or two in the kiosk. Yeah, because we still have some time slots that are not occupied. And do we have a Contrib Fest, and we're also hosting a Contrib Fest. So, well, we have a few people leading that. Anybody who is already an etcd contributor is is encouraged to come to that. Please do come, because then you can pair up with somebody who's a potential new contributor, and maybe get a lot more done. And that is on Tuesday afternoon. So.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, it would be awesome to just get a couple more slots filled, one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday, team. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think we've got a bit of coverage, which is good, but the more the merrier. When you're at the booth, it's always kind of nice to have someone else there, so you can at least chat about things while you're waiting for people to stop by. Wenjie and I did talk about potentially closing the booth during the Contrib Fest on Tuesday.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, just a quick A4 or something printed at the booth saying like, hey, close for Contrib Fest, come along, we're in room, W179 or whatever the room number is, to try and just really make the Contrib Fest a roaring success. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Cool, okay, and actually just on the Contrib Fest as well, we've got the GitHub issue in etcd.io, which is tracking pre-triaged issues for people to work on during the Contrib Fest. And just a reminder, if anyone has ideas or other things I'd like to suggest that folks work on during the Contrib Fest, please add to that issue. Again, the more the merrier. The more we have in there, the easier it'll be for folks just to rock up and find something simple to work on. Okay. Any other KubeCon issues or topics before we jump forward to the mentoring update? All good. Okay. Mentoring program. I'm guessing that's Wenjie.
Yeah, I sent an email to the etcd dev yesterday. So basically, we have finalized the first cohort of the etcd mentorship program. Congratulations to the mentees. Unfortunately, we can't hold more than that at this point. But we'll get this going, and then when we have more people who can, some of those will probably become maintainers or reviewers, and we can have more experts in different area, and then we can get the second cohort and more. And also, I just want to mention that we still have spots for CI/CD workflow and infrastructure, thanks to James. So for the people who submitted the Menti request, I don't know, we asked people to put in the interest area. Probably people didn't know there is this option. So if you are actually interested, please go ahead and then fill the Menti survey form, and we can still accept 1 or 2 on that.
And alternatively, for anyone that's kind of interested in that area, and you've already submitted the form, perhaps feel free to message me on Slack, and we can talk about it. But yeah, I've probably got capacity to pick up someone there, and we'll probably give an update on that post KubeCon. Okay. Thanks, team. We are 1 minute away from finish, so I'll open it up here. Do we have any general topics for today? Anything else anyone wants to cover?
Oh, I did want to give some disappointing news about KubeCon, which is I tried to arrange having T-shirts available for our crew through the CNCF store, and they were not able to accommodate us because they're just chaos this close to KubeCon.
I was planning on buying my shirt anyway. It's fine.
Yeah. I just I got sponsorship to actually buy shirts so that the kiosk volunteers could have them for free, but the problem is that I would have to go down there with each individual person.
Yeah, let's not do that. I'm just fine with buying a shirt. It's like
Okay.
$10 or something, whatever.
Yeah.
I was going to also make a raid on the CNCF sticker wall, try much earlier in the conference, to try and just get a few etcd stickers that we can have at the booth for people to kind of hand out.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I believe I still have some packs, so if so, I'll bring those.
Oh, they should have stickers too at the renamed meet and greet. I can't remember what it's called, but they have contributor stickers that they're going to be handing out. So you may not need to raid the thing.
The Kubernetes community, yeah.
Yeah, I would verify what they're going to have for our SIG, because as a new SIG, it's possible that they don't actually have anything for us. Since this has sort of been happening concurrently with them setting that up.
I mean, they've had etcd pins in the past.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Okay, there we are, team. That is the half hour, so I think we can call the session there. Thanks for everyone coming along. I hope to see some of you next week at KubeCon. A reminder very quickly, the triage meeting that would have ordinarily been next week is kind of pushed out, so we'll resume that after KubeCon. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming along. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Yeah,